Audible to everyone? Just type yes in the chat box if you're able to listen my voice. Okay, so don't use chat box until session is going to be completed here. Once session is done, I am going to give some support. If you get any doubts or anything if you miss here, that I'm going to cover also. Okay, observe here. So the first question so many people will ask, can we attend the Spring Boot session without Spring knowledge here? Okay, actually no. But here what I am going to do here, I am going to cover some Spring concepts with the Spring Boot and Spring Cloud. With microservices, we are going to provide service here. So these are the three things that we are going to cover. Okay, so here we are going to take the sessions over Spring and Spring Boot, Spring Cloud. I will not teach complete Spring. I'll give the Spring concepts which are required for Spring Boot only. Okay, to learn Spring Boot, what are the prerequisites required? Those concepts only we are going to cover here. And it takes completely 90 sessions. Okay, one session will be around 1.5 hours. It is going to be take 90 sessions. Some Sunday sessions is going to be somewhat lengthy, which covers even tools, concepts, cloud security, everything here. That content also I'll share in my group. From there you can download and see. Okay, complete description, that is all the concepts which are I am going to cover in Spring, Spring Boot and cloud with microservice, security, MQs, Apache Kafka. Okay, so many concepts are there that I can't give now. Separate one PDF copy I'll share in Facebook group. Okay, so my group details and email ID also provided here at the end of the session. Okay, it is completely takes 90 sessions here. That all I am going to cover here. Okay, today I am going to give introduction concept to Spring Boot only. Introduction to Spring Boot here. Observe carefully. Once class is completed, notes are provided in Facebook group. FB group is there. Okay, my FB group is there. So that group details I'll give later at the end of the session. And even I am going to give my email also. Okay, that also you can just get it from there also. Okay, so here today I am going to give introduction concept to Spring Boot. Observe carefully here. Okay, before going to the concept of Spring Boot here, first we should understand here the work of the Spring framework. Okay, so work of the Spring framework, we have to see here how it works. Okay, work of Spring framework, we have to see. Spring framework completely works with a concept called container. It is going to work with the concept of container. Okay, so container is a predefined program. Okay, container will take two inputs from the programmer. By taking these two inputs, container is going to do steps like that: creating the object, providing data to that, linking one object with another object, and finally destroying the object. If you look at here, this is a Spring container. This is Spring container. The work of the container is creating the object, like multiple objects it's going to create here. Okay, once object is created, it will provide the data. And once object is provided with the data, linking the objects. Okay, that's the general work done by Spring container. Spring container says to programmer, you need to provide some inputs here, which are given by programmer. Okay, programmer, you need to provide the inputs here. The first input is actually called as Spring Bean. Okay, Spring Bean is actually a class. That class is given input to Spring container here. Okay, Spring Bean is a class that follows the rules given by container. And second one, Spring configuration file. Spring configuration file. We can write configuration file in three ways: XML, Java based configuration, and annotation. In that, annotation is the most important one, of course, even Java. And this is the second input. By taking these two inputs, container will do this task. Okay, so these are the two inputs given by programmer. In case of Spring, programmer has to write these two: Spring Bean and Spring configuration. He has to define a Spring Bean and Spring configuration. Both must be given by programmer only. Okay, so here we're coming to Spring Boot. Spring Boot says don't write configuration because this is a common file. Okay, so just I'm giving some points here. Work of the Spring container. Understand here. Container will do below works. A, detect the class that is actually called Spring Bean and creates object. B, provide data to objects. That's also called as injection, setter injection or constructor injection. Okay, next, link objects. Link one object with another object. Link one object with another object. D, finally, at last, destroy the objects. Destroy the objects at the end, almost at the time of stopping the server. Okay, what we have to do? Programmer, we need to provide two inputs. Programmer has to provide two inputs. What are they? One, the first one is actually Spring Bean. Spring Bean is a class that follows the rules given by Spring container. Okay, those rules I'll give later. Like we have some package statement, public class, private variable, set get methods, default constructor, some rules are there. That list I'll give later. Okay, second one, Spring configuration file. Okay, this configuration file we can write in XML, Java, and annotation. Okay, so in a Spring starting, if you have done Spring concepts, initially you might have worked with XML, but coming to Spring Boot concept, XML is almost zero. We are not going to use XML concept in Spring Boot as it has become legacy. Okay, so here XML is a legacy configuration. Legacy only available in Spring, not available in Spring Boot. Okay, we'll see why and what, how it is going to be handled. That also we'll see here. Observe carefully. Okay, so that is actually introduction to Spring container. We have started here. So the work of the container, if you look at here, okay, so that is actually programmer has to provide two inputs. One is Spring Bean and second one is Spring configuration file. So configuration file will be very lengthy in real time. This one is written by programmer. Okay, some classes and configuration will be there. Not only this, at the time of writing Spring application, different files will be there, like build configuration file, server setup, database setup, like that. So many common things will be there. Okay, let us consider we are developing one project here, how it is going to be. Okay, we are developing one project here. Okay, this project assumption, one online application. Okay, one online application here, like online shopping application. Online shopping application I'm developing here. Okay, so if you are developing a project here, basic structure you are going to get like this. Minimum things will be like this. First of all, one database will be there. Okay, so this actually a normal web application is going to be like this, and our application will be there that will communicate to database. Okay, later one client machine is going to come. This client machine will communicate to our application or server application. Okay, that makes a request and get the response. Okay, minimum project web application means this is the basic structure you may get idea. Okay, that you might have implemented in advanced Java. Okay, if you look at this one, not only online shopping application or any normal web based application, if you take, some common things will be there. Okay, some common things will be there in normal applications here. Okay, let us take web applications only. Okay, what are the common things in developing some web applications here? Okay, it's not like a mandatory, I'm just giving common things here. The first one is actually database and its connection. Okay, database is used for permanent storage and its connection. Okay, next one is actually UI design. Next one is actually server. Okay, to run the application here. Next one is actually jars. Okay, server is required. Example server, assumption Tomcat server, JBoss server, or anything here. Jars required like OJDBC jar, servlet API jar, jars required. Okay, so here, and if we are developing something like email programming here, mail API will be implemented. Okay, and login logout concept, some security will be there. If you look at some security concept, that is minimum requirement here, that is login and logout here, and email alerts. These are some common things, etc. For example, if you want to register with Facebook registration will be there. Security is common. Once you register, you will get an email to a registered email. If you forgot password, you will get registered, that is email. It is going to give forgot password, like that. These are some common things. Not only this, so many things will be there. Just I'm taking some common things. These common things in case of Spring. Okay, in case of Spring, programmer has to write the code. If Spring is used, then code done by programmer. If Spring is used for all these common things, code is done by programmer. Okay, so Spring, we are going to use Spring framework, and I want to develop the application. These are few common things. Not only this, some extra will be there. Okay, so here I'm just speaking about only common things here. These common things are done by programmer. Whereas coming to Spring Boot, if Spring Boot is used, okay, common things are handled by Spring Boot only. Okay, in simple, it is reducing the work done by programmer. Okay, it's not reducing all the things, it is reducing only common things. Okay, I'll give some technical definitions here. Understand here what is the difference between Spring and Spring Boot. So many people will ask the question in interview. Remember, what programmer will do some manual work in Spring, that is become automated in Spring Boot. Okay, Spring Boot is nothing new or nothing different here. It's the easiest way of writing the Spring projects only. In Spring, if you write 100 lines of code, in Spring Boot it will become some 40 to 50 lines of code, because some common things are going to be reduced. What are the different common things, how these are reduced, also we are going to see one by one. Okay, so observe here. First, understand what are common things in project. Okay, what are the meaning of common things? I'm giving technically. We are going to write some classes. Those classes might be common in two different projects. Okay, those classes might be common in two different projects here. And next we are going to write some configuration also common here. For example, you take XML configuration or Java annotation here. Configuration also might be common. Okay. Next one, jars might be common. Database and plugins might be common. Okay. Servers will be common. Environment and setup will be common. Security will be common. These are few common things here. Okay. So some classes will be common. Some configuration files will be common. Jars are common. Database and plugins, servers, everything is actually called common things. Okay. So here, understand this point. If developer 1 is creating one project 1, and developer 2 is creating one project 2 by using Spring. By using Spring, we are saying here developer 1 and developer 2 both are having some, okay, developer 2 and developer 1 both are developing different projects here. Two different projects will be having some common classes. Two different projects will be having some common configurations. Two different projects will be having common jars. Two different projects will be having common database and plugins. Two different projects will be having some servers, security concept. So this one, generally, if you are using Spring framework, all these things are provided by programmer. In case of Spring, these are all provided by programmer. Now I'm saying, no. These common things are not provided by programmer. These are provided as one project. Okay. So one project is there. This project is not a complete project. It's like an incomplete project, or we can call abstract project. It's like abstract project, not exactly. It is like abstract project. One abstract project is there here. Okay, this abstract project, the work of this abstract project is nothing but having common things. This project is having common classes, common configuration, common jars, database and plugins, servers, security and setup. This abstract project is ready-made. Okay, you are not required to write here. This abstract project is actually called as Spring Boot. Okay, Spring Boot is like an abstract project or predefined project which provides not everything, it provides only common things. These common things only will be there in the application, which will be 60 to 70% of code, sometimes even more and sometimes even less also. Okay, so what is Spring Boot? Spring Boot is an abstract project. It is similar to abstract project. It's a Spring based one only. This project provides common things, common classes, common configuration, common jars, database and plugins, server, security and app. Now what programmer should do here is we need to create another project. This project actually behaves like a child project. Okay, don't write the code from line number 1. Okay, don't write the code from line number 1 because already common codes are given above. Okay, child project is created by programmer. You create the child project and you inherit parent project. Like how you use keyword like extends or implements, that is inheritance concept in core Java. For example, you have one class and you are creating another class. How you create is a relation, like above class is having some common methods. These common methods I want to below class. How you use inheritance? In a similar way, here also we are going to extend our project, that is actually abstract project is used by child project, so that 60 to 70% common things are reduced. Okay, so this 60 to 70% common things given in Spring Boot, this is given by a company called Pivotal. Okay, Pivotal team has provided a concept called Spring Boot, where Spring Boot is similar to abstract project. Okay, it is actually called parent abstract project. It is a parent abstract project. Here, this is child project here. Parent abstract project is provided using Maven tool or Gradle tool. You can use any of that one. That is fine. It is similar to abstract project. It's not exactly abstract project. In simple, a project created in Maven or a project created in the Gradle having common things. Please don't use chat box. If you have any questions at the end, I am going to give answers. Please don't use chat box. Okay, if you have any question, just note it down that one, because it's not, session is not completed. At the end, I'll give the clarity if you don't have some points here. Okay, again I'm saying Spring Boot is a project. First understand, it is implemented using Spring framework only. It is similar to abstract project. It's not exactly abstract project, it is like abstract project. A project having only common things like common classes, common configuration, common jars, common database and plugins, common servers, security and setup. This project is provided in Maven or Gradle. Okay, programmer has to create a child project and extend above parent project so that some lines of code is reduced. Okay, understand, I'm just giving here what is Spring Boot. Spring Boot is a Spring based framework, and it is like, not exactly here, it is like abstract project. Okay, it's not exactly abstract project, it is like abstract project which provides common things to child project and reduces programmer work. Okay, so if you look at here, we are actually calling common things and common things, but in real time no one will call common things. Instead of calling common things, they are going to call a concept called auto configuration. That concept name is actually called auto configuration. The biggest important feature of Spring Boot is auto configuration. Spring Boot purpose is auto configuration, which is not there in Spring. Okay, Spring Boot is a project. Spring Boot is a parent project which provides the concept of auto configuration in simple step. Okay, what is auto configuration? Providing the common things like this, which provides auto configuration. That's actually called common things to child project and reduces the programmer work. Auto configuration means, okay, let me show one example here. Okay, what is the meaning of auto configuration? You will understand. Just let me show an example. This example, just I'm comparing with Spring framework and Spring Boot. Spring framework and I'm comparing with Spring Boot. Okay, so here I'll give one example that is comparing Spring framework and Spring Boot framework here. Observe. Okay, in Spring I want to implement one database example. Okay, so here also in Spring Boot I just want to write database example. Just observe here. So here, first of all, we need one class. We need classes here. That is actually interface is called data source and implementation assumption driver manager data source. Okay, assumption classes required, and second one configuration is required. Okay, I'm just taking the configuration of Java configuration. If you don't know how to write Java configuration, not to worry. Okay, I'm going to explain this one in upcoming sessions here. Today just I'm showing the differences only. This complete notes also posted in Facebook group, not required to write anything here. Just understand. If you have doubts, that questions you just note it down, and at the end I am going to give support. Okay, understand here. Configuration I'm just writing here. Okay, so Java based configuration I'm writing. Okay, it is going to look like this here. Public class app config. It's a sample code here, and there I'm writing @configuration. And there, here I want to create one object for driver manager data source, which is like a connection. Here we need to write @bin public driver manager data source ds. Okay, there I'm creating driver manager data source ds equals to new driver manager data source. Okay, ds dot set driver class name, some dummy class name I'll write later. And next I'm writing here ds dot set url and ds dot set username and ds dot set password. Like this you might have written in Spring. If you have already completed Spring, you used to write like this, return ds. Okay, these are the common classes and Java based configuration, not over here. And even we need some jars. If you can use manual or maven concept, assumption we need something like OJDBC jar or MySQL connector jar. Any one jar is required. Not over, even we need database also. Database you need to download and install. You need to download and install. Assumption MySQL database or Oracle database, any one database you need to download and install. Okay, so here after this we need to write some test operations here. We need to perform the operations like save, or we can also call it insert, update, delete and select. Like this we have operations. Okay, if you are using Spring framework, you are doing all these steps, step number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, all this work done by programmer here. Programmer has to follow below steps and coding part. Like this we have to do everything work done by programmer only. Programmer has to create a manual project and programmer has to mention the jars. Programmer has to download and install the database and programmer has to perform the operation. Programmer has to write some Java configuration. It is lengthy. I wrote some short part. Still we have to write something lengthy like JDBC template and all. Just I wrote short part here. And programmer has to take care of these classes, importing and all. Okay, we're coming to Spring Boot. Spring Boot says, yeah, I know these are all common things. If you want to perform any database operation, yes, these are all common things here. Okay, common classes. Okay, data source and driver manager data source are common classes. Next one, configuration. If you look at here, if you look at this one, this is a common configuration. If not only you, even if another person writing any other application using Spring framework database programming, this is common. For example, you are developing an Amazon online shopping, this database code is common. Or else if you are developing one application that is for payment, Paytm, this is common, because this is a common code in every database programming. Jars also common, downloading and installing database common, and this basic operations also common. Okay, Spring Boot says, yes, we are reducing your work. In Spring, everything is taken care by programmer. Coming to Spring Boot says, yes, we are reducing the work by providing here auto configuration. Auto configuration says reduce common works in project. Okay, what are the things reduced here? So here step number 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Complete 5 steps. Complete 5 steps here. Step number 5 up to 5 steps are reduced by Spring Boot. Okay, so 6th step will be there. Other than this operation, extra things will be there. Okay, Spring Boot says that in these 5 steps we are reducing some common things here. Observe, in these 5 steps I'm showing one by one here. Okay, auto configuration should be done. Okay, now in Spring Boot I am going to show coding part here. Programmer has to follow below steps and coding part. It is just only example. Complete will be given once chapters are started. Okay, first either you take Maven or Gradle, anything is fine. Maven or Gradle, anything is fine. Provide one line, Spring hyphen boot hyphen starter hyphen JDBC. Look at this line, Spring hyphen boot hyphen starter hyphen JDBC. When you write this code, it is going to cover step number 1, step number 2. step number 1 and step number 2. These are covered. Okay, while creating this one, even it takes care of jars, of course, here. Okay, I'm just adding one more here. That is HK2 is one database actually. Okay, that is going to cover step number 4. Of course, mentioning OJDBC or MySQL, any connector also that is supported here. Okay, so it is going to cover this line. This only main important line, observe carefully. It is going to say that step number 1 and 2 I am going to cover. Don't take care of classes and don't write the configuration. This is very important. Configuration will be very lengthy in real time. In real time configuration, XML or Java configuration will be lengthy, like a bean tags. Okay, ID and name properties we are going to write lengthy here. That lengthy configuration is removed by this single line. Okay, what is the meaning of this line? If you provide this line you have to provide in the child project, then it will communicate to parent project. It says, okay, I want JDBC related, observe carefully, I want JDBC related. Child project is asking to parent project, I want JDBC related classes, JDBC related configuration, JDBC related jars, JDBC related database and plugins, and remaining what exactly JDBC applicable here, I want everything. Like this we need to write here. Okay, and this is OJDBC and MySQL. H2 is actually, okay, OJDBC or MySQL here, that is actually thing here. Okay, first one is actually reducing, that is step number 1 and step number 2. Not only that, operations also not required, right? For basic operations logic also it is only given. Okay, if you write this one line, it is going to take care of like step number 1 comma 2 comma 5. Okay, database download and install you can do manually, or else you can use embedded database, and some jars also it is going to take care, that is also will come here, step number 3 and 5. Only 4 external database you have that you need to download and install. Single line it is going to cover step number 1 2 3 5. Step number 4 is extra, we need to download and install here. If you use embedded database, that is also not going to come. Later I will show how to cover this. Okay, observe this one. Okay, this line is actually called as auto configuration. Okay, if you look at here, there is no code in this line. Okay, but for this line, code is there inside the project. Spring Boot says I have given everything ready made. Child project, just write the line like spring hyphen boot hyphen starter hyphen your particular type. If you write JDBC, it will go to parent project and ask all JDBC related classes, configuration, jars and setup. If you write web, all web related plugins are going to come. If you write email related setup is going to come. Okay, so if you write something like security code is going to come. This is actually called configuration, auto configuration. Okay, in simple they have provided all ready-made code. That ready-made code, which category you want, that category is special, you need to mention. Star has no meaning, just it is a dash. We can't write star, just we have to write particular type here. Observe carefully. Auto configuration is a concept that reduces common work done in the project by providing a starter. Starter will give common starting things here. Which looks like spring hyphen boot hyphen starter hyphen some dash. Okay, like this example here. Now for example, I want to do web application in spring. Consider it has some 1000 lines of code. Okay, in spring. Okay, in spring boot, these 1000 lines of code will become something like 250 lines of code. This is done by programmer. Okay, what about 750 lines? 750 lines of code. 750 lines of code is given by a line, that is spring hyphen boot hyphen starter hyphen web. If you write like this, sometimes more than this also will be there. Just I'm giving some assumption here. Sometimes 950 also will come. Sometimes 999 also will come. Okay, if you are developing a web application in Spring, complete code is written by programmer. Okay, if you come to Spring Boot, If we come to Spring Boot here, 250 lines of code done by programmer, 750 lines of code given by this line. Okay, what is this line and how it works? We are going to see in the upcoming sessions here. Okay, we have to go through with this by creating a project and all. For example, you are developing one email application. In Spring Assumption, you are writing 500 lines of code. Okay, which is done by actually programmer. Okay, in Spring Boot, it is going to be just like 100 lines of code, which is done by actually programmer. What about remaining lines of code here? For example, 400 lines of code, LOC lines of code is given by Spring hyphen boot hyphen starter hyphen mail. Okay, now assumption, you are doing actually security application. You're developing a security application. Okay, again same. In Spring Assumption, you are writing 600 lines of code. In Spring Boot, 300 lines of code is given by programmer and 300 lines of code given by Spring Boot. Okay, that's like a security. These numbers are like just a dummy for your understanding I'm giving. Sometimes it can be more than this and less than this, but understand, in Spring, complete lines of code is written by programmer. Coming to Spring Boot, common lines of code given by Spring Boot, other lines of code is given by programmer. Okay, that common lines of code you need to write line like this. Okay, this concept name is actually called as auto configuration. Okay, repeating again here, what is Spring Boot? Okay, Spring Boot is a Spring based framework only, and it is like an abstract project, not exactly abstract project here. Okay, just it is for your understanding here, which provides auto configuration. Spring Boot is a Spring based framework that provides auto configuration. What is auto configuration? Okay, so child project, I'm saying programmer don't write complete code. Some code is already provided here by a company called Pivotal team. You just use this project and use a concept called auto configuration. Common classes, common configuration, common jars, common database and plugins, server and setup, security and setup, everything will commit to you. Okay, common things they will give, remaining things you write it. Okay, that is a concept called Spring Boot here in simple. But to understand auto configuration, we need to look at some chapters also one by one. Once you understand the chapters, you'll understand the coding difference. Here only theoretical difference only I gave here. Once you start the chapters here, that we are going to see coding differences here. Okay, how many starters we have? If you want, I'll give the list later here. Just I'm giving few here. Okay, now for example, I want to implement application like web application. We have seen email application, security application, so many will be there, like cloud applications, which is not there in Spring, dev tools, actuator, integrations. We are going to see like Kafka, camel, like this we are going to see here. Security, mail services, REST web services, so on etc. So many will be there here. Okay, just I'm giving few. Not only this, so many list I'm going to give later here one by one what we are going to discuss. Okay, always remember a simple point here. In Spring, programmer writing everything. In Spring Boot, the concept is auto configuration, reducing the common work. Okay, so what kind of common work is reducing? That changes from concept to concept. Okay, for example, if you go for web application, common lines of code is different. If you go to email application, common lines of code is different. Okay, what are these common lines of code? I can explain once we start this project only. Okay, not only this, Spring Boot also having some other features like cloud deployment, microservice implementation. Okay, so like we have so many concepts. That concepts we are going to see in upcoming sessions here. Today I gave only just a basic introduction concept to Spring Boot. Okay, what are the concepts I cover? That one PDF copy I'll post in the Facebook group after the session is completed. That PDF details, that is Facebook group details and email ID details, are given just in 5 minutes here. Okay, so I'll cover Spring concepts, not all, only few concepts. If you don't know Spring, I'm just going to give some extra concepts that you need to practice. Okay, Spring concepts few, Spring Boot concepts and Spring Cloud completely I'm going to cover in 90 sessions. Okay, if you have any questions, then you can ask here. In the next session, I am going to discuss about microservices introduction and its concepts. Okay, so that in tomorrow's session I am going to take the introduction concept to microservice. Today I have taken only introduction to Spring Boot only. If you have any questions, you can just give in chat box one by one. Okay, and I'm giving my Facebook group details. You can just even note down the same. This is my Facebook group and email ID. Yeah, all 90 sessions are almost online only. Online or offline, just you communicate to front office. Starter nothing but it's a ready-made code given by project. Yeah, this one complete content is provided in Facebook group also. To attend microservice and Spring Boot session, okay, so Spring Boot core I am just going to cover. Spring core also I'll cover here. Okay, so you need actually core Java knowledge and advanced Java knowledge. Actuators and all covered in upcoming sessions, sir. Today I can't explain everything. Actuator is a ready-made endpoints that we are going to see in the chapters. Okay, about these sessions, online or offline, please communicate to front office or IT administration. Yeah, cloud also going to be completed here. Kafka and Camel also covered. Cost just communicate to administration only. Yeah, Spring Boot also Spring based framework only, sir. Yeah, many projects also covered. About the classes, please communicate to front office only. No, this is not for Hadoop actually, sir. Yeah, Joule and Eureka also covered. If you don't know Spring, some concepts of Spring concepts are provided that you can just go through and you can learn. Session will be taken every day 1 hour to 1.5 hours. If you don't know Spring, I'll just give Spring few concepts that we have to understand here. Docker also covered. OAuth 2 also covered. Small, mini projects also provided. Yeah, PDF things all posted in Facebook group. This is my Facebook group. You can just note down the same given at screen. Yeah, already posted. You can just search. After few minutes also, I'll post the same thing. Screen recordings are not provided. Microsoft Azure is not covered. That is a different course. Only microservices 40 sessions will be there. 40 to 45 sessions will be there. Annotations also covered. Front office details will be in the official website, Naresh IT website. It will be there. You can just go to Naresh IT website. Here mobile numbers are there. You can just communicate to them. Yeah, if you don't know Java, you can't get this one, sir. It's a Java course only. I don't know about amount and all. Money related things communicate to front office. OAuth 2.x is covered, sir, here. Yeah, Spring Boot MVC is covered, not Spring MVC. Fee just communicate to front office. Yeah, OAuth 2 also covered. If you don't know advanced Java, please don't join here. Minimum requirement and core Java and advanced Java. MongoDB also covered. Docker is covered. No, instead of Jenkins, we are going to take Spring PCF. That is a new one. New tools are there in Spring Boot. We are going to have only new tools. Old are not going to be supported. They are removing. Yeah, Spring Boot with microservice also covered. Yeah, whatever I'm covering in 8 p.m. Spring Boot microservice, everything is covered here also. Yeah, web service also covered. AOP covered in Spring, sir. This is Spring Boot. Yeah, some real-time scenarios, mini projects are given. Microservice 40 to 45 sessions are taken. Complete Netflix microservices are given with including cloud deployment. Separate web service batch will be started after a few days, not now. Yeah, internal workflow also given for Spring security. Srikanth has provided one number here. If you have any technical, that is payment related things, you can just call to the number 63029. A number is provided there. You can just see. Yeah, tools also covered. Spring separately you need to learn, sir. Only Spring related Spring Boot concepts we are going to give. Spring core batch will be separate, sir. Spring batch will be separate. I'll just come make everything in this project in this session only. Tools will be Maven, Gradle, JUnit, Logup, Log4j, Docker, PCF. These are actually covered mainly, and Git also. Number you want? Don't use chat box for a few minutes. I'm just providing the number. No, Jira is actually different. That we are not covering. Jira is for project-based students. Offline classes related regarding things, please communicate to Srikanth. The number is provided here. Live project batch will be separate. Here I'll give mini projects. Yeah, syllabus copy I'll provide in Facebook group. That's what I said. Okay, after a few minutes I'll post syllabus copy in my group here. You can just take that, whatever there in the syllabus, that I will cover. What is not there in that syllabus, that I will not cover. Project batch will be started later, that will mention the later. Note down even Facebook group details also, and my email ID also, and mobile number. Yeah, Spring Boot with JPA is covered, not Spring with JPA. Spring Boot with JPA is covered. Project batch, if you want to attend, Spring or Spring Boot must be completed. I'll share the content in few minutes. Yeah, Spring Boot security is covered, not Spring security. Yeah, notes will be shared on Facebook group. From there you can take it. To learn microservice, Spring Boot knowledge is mandatory. Yeah, this is only first session. History circuit board also covered. For payment details and all, we are providing one number. Just note down that number. Database knowledge, advanced Java database knowledge required, JDBC knowledge required. If you don't use chat box for a few seconds, mobile number will be visible to everyone. It's a mobile number provided, Facebook group and email ID. To learn Spring Boot, prerequisites like core Java and advanced Java, basics of Spring core. Yeah, material is same as Ravindra Xerox only. Jira will be taken only for project based students, or separate tool is taken, then you can attend. Yeah, Spring knowledge is required, basics of Spring knowledge is required. If you don't know, I'll take some extra sessions on that. You can just learn with that. Yeah, content you can see on the screen. This content I'll post in Facebook group. That everything what are there here, everything we are going to cover. Notes also posted in Facebook group. Yeah, soft copies, everything provided in Facebook group. Spring class, it's not Spring, sir, it's actually Spring Boot. Regarding online or offline, just communicate to IT admin help desk. Yeah, covered with Spring and microservice, complete with real-time scenarios. No WhatsApp group, nothing here. Recorded video sessions may not be provided. You just ask to IT admin help desk. Yeah, many projects also provided in Spring Boot. Those code also posted in Facebook group. Total 90 sessions are taken. You can go up to 4 to 5 years of experience if you learn completely. Jira separate tool will be taken. Once we take, you have to attend that one separately. In this 90 sessions, Jira will not be covered. Jira is a separate tool. If I cover, you can take that one. 90 sessions for Spring Boot and microservices. Yeah, RabbitMQ, Apache Kafka is covered with Camel. Apache Kafka, Apache Camel is covered. 6:10, 6:15 it is going to be started every day, 6:10 like that.